dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be focusing on what could be our very first look at DLC 2 for Black Ops 7 Zombies. We're going to hell. Definitely stay tuned. Now, with that being said, folks, I know Astraorum has only been out for a good week and a half. I'm loving the map. It's probably my favorite DLC one in a long time. I think it's a stronger map than Citadel, although the interest isn't all that great for the map as far as content goes across the board, not just for me, but other zombie creators as well. I think the map is going to stand the test of time and will be looked at pretty fondly in the coming months. But with the ending cutscene of Astraorum came a couple of teasers that I wanted to break down, as well as a side quest that may have given us a hint towards not one, but two map remakes that we could be seeing in the next year or so. So first off, you guys have probably already seen this glimpse right here. It's a short frame that you can see as the entity itself gets sent to some other dimension by the Warden. This frame in particular also got data mined, and it looks like this is the clearest shot we have of some location the entity got sent to, or some location that we may be going to as we get dragged towards the depths of hell, which you can see towards the very end of this cutscene. Is this DLC 2? Is this a playable space? Could it be a pack-a-punch area? The next boss arena? Lots of questions with where exactly this is, but it does line up perfectly with what the Warden teases us with, which is that he's sending us deep underground. I've also seen pretty strong comparisons to the Dark Ether that we saw back in the Archon, a map from Vanguard Zombies, where we see Cortifex's Playground, a really beautiful space that, to this day, I'll always defend. I think Shinonuma Reborn and the Archon had pretty well-designed Easter egg steps and beautiful environments, despite Vanguard's plethora of other issues that we're not going to go over here today. But could this be a space that's ruled over by a god, a huge entity, or just the Warden himself? Where even is this? I think a good question that continuously has been asked, especially with Astraorum, is, are we still in the Dark Ether? We went to space in the Dark Ether, seemingly to a space station, an observatory towards the Ring of Saturn. That's crazy that we're still in the Dark Ether, but in space, right? That's a crazy concept. So would it be all that crazy to say we're going to literal hell inside of DLC 2 that also happens to take place, even deeper in the Dark Ether? But the thing is, I get the impression that this map could be quote-unquote filler, at least narratively, where we're not actually restoring anybody's soul in this map. We'll get back to the story a little bit deeper in this video, but would anybody have really guessed that we could be going to Nuketown based on this ending cutscene? I really don't think so. However, there's a teaser within the map in one of the side quests that involves a Gramophone, which will reward you with a free perk. Again, if you want to see all side Easter eggs on Astraorum, my other videos linked below. When you interact with some of these gramophones, they play the following music. That was music from Alpha Omega's Game Over screen, while other gramophones that you can interact with do provide some music from Transit and even the map Buried. Now, Transit already got reimagined here with Ashes of the Damned. Obviously, it's a full-on reimagining where it's not really a close one-to-one at all, nor is it in Green Run at all. When it comes to Alpha Omega, that's a map that just a few weeks back got rumored to be returning inside of Black Ops 7. To what extent, we really don't know, which would also be paired with a Nuketown survival map. But where does Buried fit in? Are we talking another Zombie Chronicles for Black Ops 7? I completely doubt it. That's really weird that he's Buried, though. I mean, that's one of the few maps that have never been remastered before to any extent, apart from the Blackout POI, which we're not going to talk about today. But are they hinting at a hybrid type map that puts together a bit of Nuketown with maybe an area of Transit, even though we kind of just saw Ashes of the Damned reimagined Transit? Will Ted be in the map? And could they also combine some part of the western town, something from Buried, maybe the area above where you spawn in that map? Is that what that could be hinting at? Or are these gramophones simply teasing the fact that these are iconic locations from the Ether, which were banished into the Dark Ether? But right when this side quest got found, I'm like, wait a second, Alpha Omega just leaked out as a DLC map, then a Gramophone is playing Game Over music from Alpha Omega. That's gotta mean something, right? I think that's at least a hint that this will end up being one of the locations that we're going to at some point in the future. Something pretty exciting as well is that last year for Black Ops 6, to celebrate 115 Day, Treyarch ended up dropping a really cool blog hinting at not just the Tomb for DLC 2, which ended up coming out a few weeks later with Season 2, but they even detailed some upcoming perks. They highlighted some great zombie artwork and projects around the community. It was a big day for Zombies fans, and considering we have a back-to-back Black Ops sequel on our hands, I wouldn't doubt if with 115 Day, which is a little over a month away, they'll also use that time to say, hey guys, we're dropping the next round-based map with Season 2, whether at launch, whether at Reloaded, and that'll probably be when they end up confirming or unveiling that we are seeing a reimagining of Nuketown to some extent. But as I went over in a video that I ended up putting out right when that rumor ended up surfacing from inside of the Ghost of Hope, I think we have to hold our horses on freaking out if this is going to be a Camp Edward remake. Could it end up being the entire Nuketown Island, but as a zombie map that we saw from Blackout? Is it Camp Edward Alpha Omega, but a little bit different with a much more unique power system? Pack-a-Punch quest. Could it just be classic Nuketown as we know, but then they just expand beyond the perimeter we knew from BO2 without having that underground section that we had in BO4? I've also seen some really good theories that maybe this could be Richtofen's map. I mean, Alpha Omega was called Camp Edward after all, so if that's the case, then could this be a replacement for what would have been a post-World War II New York that got nuked by, I'm not going to say the group's name for obvious reasons here, it could end up getting flagged and demonetized. But there's quotes from Richtofen in BO7 Zombies that hint at the fact that the Axis were able to develop the atomic bomb first and dropped it. So they won World War II. This could be a map that explores the aftermath of that. Did Richtofen and his group experiment with the atomic bomb in a Nuketown site, and then that Camp Edward got sent to the Dark Ether, which is what we're going to be playing in DLC 2. That's a good way to put it. But what's really crazy is that Leaker Reality UK at one point said that we were going to be seeing shotgun wonder weapons for round-based maps that were codenamed Ruby and Mantis. He mentioned 2 shotguns, and what do you know, Astraorum is actually the Ruby map, and we didn't get a shotgun unless that's how the LGM1 started in development. I'm not too sure. So does that mean there's 2 shotgun wonder weapons sitting out there that could be saved for Mantis now? Mantis is presumably the next round-based map that we're going to get in Season 2, and what shotgun wonder weapon have we seen before that kind of lines up with the previous leak that I think a lot of people may have misinterpreted when they reported it? And that was the rumor that a Mob of the Dead remake would be coming to Black Ops 7. Is it possible that somebody that got that info saw an image of, let's say, the Blundergat and said, oh, okay, if I'm seeing that, that means Mob of the Dead's got to be coming back. And then that rumor just spread, Ghost of Hope put that out. Maybe that's what it was, and the Blundergat's going to actually be a wonder weapon in a future round-based experience like this Mantis map. And that would also make a little bit of sense if it's a remastered weapon for a remastered Zombies map, since they already did the Mark II upgrades for Shattered Veil a little while ago in BO6. They're not going to do that again, even though this could be an Alpha Omega remake. And above all, if this map takes place in Hell and Nuketown is a part of it, the Warden himself could be like the new Brutus. Could he spawn in every so often, kind of like how Brutus operated back in Mob of the Dead? And then that would explain, I suppose, how a Blundergat fits in. Mob of the Dead was in Purgatory, in Hell, so the Blundergat could actually have a place here in what could be a Nuketown reimagining. And the fact that 2 shotguns were leaked by Reality and other data miners out there also has me remembering that Mob of the Dead had 2 Blundergats. There was the Blundergat, the Acid Gat. Blood of the Dead took things further. You had the Acid Gat and the Magma Gat. So maybe 2 of those 3 versions are going to be coming to Black Ops 7 in the coming months. What I also find pretty cool is that a couple of weeks ago, the full perk machine, the redesigned perk machine for Widow's Wine, ended up completely leaking over on Twitter. Can't show you the image on screen for obvious copyright reasons, but think back to when we saw a Widow's Wine perk machine back in Shadows of Evil. That map was in a pocket dimension, but almost kind of resembled Hell a little bit. So does Widow's Wine also fit perfectly for a DLC 2 that takes place in what could be Purgatory? Sadly, I really can't see them adding in more perks after Widow's Wine. Maybe Tombstone, which I don't really want unless the augments are going to be solid, but I can't really see them adding more perks to the screen, as you can see with the Perkaholic. Maybe they start rotating or vaulting certain perks in future DLC maps so that you don't have too many. But Black Ops 6 added 4 new perks, whereas BO7's probably going to go down with adding 3. That's Whisk Tea, then Mule Kick, and now it could be Widow's Wine. But a big takeaway as well after watching that ending cutscene of Astraorum is that Takeo is the last character shown. I'd say if you didn't know about the rumors and leaks that are currently out there, which, like I always say, take them with a grain of salt. They're fun to talk about, but nothing is confirmed whatsoever. If you just watch that cutscene, you might get the interpretation that Takeo's the character we're focusing on next. We're going to collect his soul, even though if you look at some of the earlier reports of BO7 Zombies, I think it makes sense we're probably going to get his soul in that Japanese erupting volcano round-based map that I believe is still going to end up dropping according to Insider Hope. He said the map is still on track to release at some point. So that's why I'm thinking maybe this map ends up being another medium-sized experience like Astraorum, but is a little bit more filler narratively, but can still offer some cool opportunities. If we're playing in Nuketown, there's a Blundergat, and the Warden himself makes an actual appearance and is involved more with this map, could still be a really cool DLC. And then the 4th round-based map that comes out after this one could get us back on track with collecting those souls again, so that we end up wrapping things up by what could be a 5th DLC, maybe in Season 5 or 6 of BO7 Zombies. But that is about it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. We may have gotten our first glimpse of DLC 2 already thanks to the Astraorum cutscene, but with that came a pretty cool discussion about what could be literal hell we're going to, an Alpha Omega remake, the return of the Blundergat, and maybe the Warden playing an even bigger role than what he's played thus far inside of BO7. With that being said, leave all your thoughts down below. Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.